and survived. In my preteens, I had acne, brain fog, anxiety, fatigue. I thought these symptoms were normal, but they were actually signs that my body was attacking itself. It took some testing to confirm and doctors to explain that what I had was an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. That is when your immune system attacks your thyroid gland, which is a key player in the regulation of your hormones. If not treated, I would have had an underactive thyroid and hormonal complications throughout my adulthood. So I was attacking myself because I was having an autoimmune response. Now, it so happens that the principles of all autoimmune conditions are the same, whether the condition is Hashimoto's, celiac disease, psoriasis. An autoimmune condition is the result of your immune system, your body system, for fighting and protecting you against foreign invaders, infections, and chemicals. Your immune system goes against your healthy cells, leaving your body in a self-attack like mine. So what were my options? I could have eaten this array of color that would have only tamed my symptoms, but not get down to the root cause of my autoimmune issue. Or eat this array of color that indeed is what got me to being saved from my attack and my autoimmune condition in remission. What if one bite can change your world? It was through the support of the people. It was through having people who truly supported me in my commitment to healing and health that I got introduced to concepts that I otherwise wouldn't have considered on my own. They made me question whether the foods that I held so dearly in my diet, like wheat, rice, soy, dairy, sugar, were actually the suspicious contenders in causing all of my problems. I never would have imagined that certain foods could trigger an autoimmune response in your body just as an infection, chemical, and foreign invader could. They had me understand that the bottom line to healing was to eat from a clean source of food that wouldn't confuse my body and make my body have further immune system flare-ups. So provoked by these questions, my family and I were determined to figure out what foods made me feel good and what foods didn't. And this is where everything got a lot more fun. I jumped into the kitchen and definitely learned a few things. The most unexpected was that great tasting food could also be great for me, and that deliciousness did not have to come at the sacrifice of how I felt afterwards. A meal was supposed to nourish me, give me energy, not deplete me, not make me feel guilty, and certainly not make me pass out from a food coma, only to wake up brain fogged. Pleasure did not have to be so guilty. And it was through playing with my diet and eating these healthier foods that I discovered that my symptoms quickly vanished. And that's what got me hooked into investigating more. As you can see from this photo, my fascination with cooking started with, how do I make chocolate healthy again? And so I was still itching for more because this wasn't enough. So I started to crash other people's kitchens. I found relatives and friends who taught me their super secret sacred recipes, chefs who taught me adequate knife skills and introduced me to whole new realms of ingredients, techniques, and flavor combinations. I made friends who loved food and cooking just as much as I was falling in love with it. And along this whole process, I learned that the bottom line to healing and cooking was that healing and cooking was about community and connection, that they went hand in hand. At this point in my journey, I was on a mission to reimagine healthier treats and snacks to teach kids, because I understood the importance of eating well at a young age to avoid all of the agony that I had gone through. And I see these kids were my die-hard fans. They loved the desserts that we made together, and they couldn't even tell the difference in taste or texture. They made me see how delicious food could also be made, that healthy food could also be made adults excited and a part of my journey. Digging into American culture and understanding, okay, what were the traditional foods that most Americans love and grew up with, I could summarize it in one word: waffles. You see, my family and I have come a long way, health-wise, and have even made foods that few would imagine could be ever made possible healthy again. And it definitely took a whole lot of trial and error and some basic chemistry, but in the end, it proved to be possible. Now, this is what started our journey to reimagining the traditions that were once missing in our diets because of our dietary requirements. It was, as you could probably tell by now, I'm some sort of Asian, so getting back to my traditional foods, I thought was going to be one of the most difficult culinary challenges that I had to face. And with having a Vietnamese and Taiwanese household, you can imagine the spread of table. There's wheat dumplings, spring rolls, rice noodles, everything, right? And you would think that because I was choosing health, I had to ditch all of the traditional foods that I grew up with. But that was not at all the case. It was on a trip to Vietnam in 2012 where I had the opportunity to cook with the locals. There, it's where they introduced me to tubers like cassava root, taro root, sweet yams. And interestingly enough, because these were roots, they were already gluten, grain, and processed sugar-free. And so surprisingly, they started to whip out their family heirloom recipes, and they showed me that noodles, dumplings, and spring rolls could actually be made, all with these roots. Now that just showed me how just because I had dietary requirements and allergies didn't mean I had to give up my traditional foods that I grew up with and that gave me comfort and a sense of belonging. And so this is where my eyes opened, and I saw that there was a whole new world out there of ingredients and recipes that would nourish me and support our lifestyles, whatever it may be. So it was through eating a healthier diet and becoming more aware of myself and how I felt that I went from feeling like this, fatigued, tired, brain fogged, often hard to get out of bed in the morning, to this, energized, excited, with a new curiosity for life. So I took a follow-up blood test last December to see how were my autoimmune antibodies. It came back, and my autoimmune condition is in remission. And that, my friends, is how I end the story of how I attacked myself and survived. Thank you.